Hey guys, AJ here. Is it on? It's been a while. Say that in every video. Listen, I have priorities. I may not be very good with consistency, but I have priorities. I go to school. Because I'm not so good with consistency, a lot of the clips in this video I filmed months ago, which is why my hair will look really, really inconsistent. That will show you where in time we are.
Hi,
Hello!
this is Jeanette.
This is Jeanette. That's me. We're gonna talk about our waist, or lack thereof.
No, it's just making it more dramatic, like...
We're gonna talk about our waist, or lack thereof.
Indeed. The two of us have been trying to make an effort to create less waste. We're gonna do our best to go zero waste for 1 week.
What do you think will be the greatest challenge for you?
I think the greatest challenge will be when it's not even up to me. What have been some struggles in...
For me?
Yeah, for you.
Sometimes, like, I end work, I don't have dinner, and then I kind of assume there's dinner at home. And then, like, when I don't have dinner at home, it's like...
You buy
I have
it.
to take away.
Recently I went to Japan and I brought my own chopsticks. They thanked me instead of giving me weird looks like they would in Singapore.
Sometimes it's not even inconvenient. It's just that because it's out of the ordinary, they'll be like, "Oh my god, why you break our cycle?" Any advice?
I guess plan ahead.
Yeah.
You watch all these videos of people who live zero waste lifestyles and they carry so much with them every day. Okay, the only waste we're not gonna count is whatever happens in the toilet because that's nasty. Also, periods. A lot of people use pads, but we use menstrual cups.
Yes. I feel like I should have said a line after that. Like the menstrual cups.
Men use it too. We'll check back in a week. Okay.
Back in a week.
Bye. Bye, Jeanette. Funnily enough, for one class, I have to make something out of plastic. I made the conscious decision not to give in. I messaged all my friends and I said, hey guys, could you do me a favor and collect all the disposable plastic forks and spoons that you might use this week and pass them to me. And my friends and I took a stroll in the supermarket and I was not tempted to buy any. I was almost tempted, but I did not.
Hi everyone, so it's the first day of the challenge, so I decided to share with you what I'm bringing with me for my day. So this is what I have: a water bottle, a lunchbox, as well as reusable utensils, and I feel like these are probably the top 3 things that I'll need the most for my day.
I wake up first thing in the morning to a sandwich. It's been wrapped. And I lost my water bottle.
So I just had breakfast and I had carrot cake, but I couldn't finish. So that's my first waste of the challenge. That bit of carrot cake. I'll try to order as much as I can eat and not order.
The only consistent piece of waste is they're just receipts. And I want to refuse them, but then in the end it's still printed and they're just gonna throw it out. I was so excited to eat, but then I saw that.
Why are you vlogging?
I saw that they
Why are you taking video?
They serve it all on disposables.
Hey, but why are you taking video?
So
Enjoy taking video.
We decided to get Starbucks, and so luckily I brought my bottle so I didn't have to use the plastic cups that they gave us. And we got Viet Papa, which they put in the lunchbox, but then they still gave us like paper sleeves, so at least we didn't take a plastic bag with us. That's +1.
more trash. Ha! Fun.
As you can see, I had to get a styrofoam box because I wasn't expecting to have to buy home dinner, and I did bring my lunchbox, but I took the styrofoam box without plastic and without utensils. I had plastic from this box, which is Go Guide's cookies, and it's just something I bought before the challenge, but still, yes, I feel like it still counts, and I felt bad if I didn't add it in, so yes.
Got garlic bread and they served it on this. We tried.
Honestly, it wasn't a lot of adjusting because some of the things that I was meant to practice I had already been practicing.
Yeah.
Like bringing my own bottle and like just refusing unnecessarily packaged stuff. But I mean, I did have cravings, and there is a packet of fire noodles. I feel like one thing that this challenge helped me do was control my temptations. There were times where I wanted ice cream, and I don't even really like ice cream. There's been a few times where I brought my own milk when I've planned to get ice cream. There's a lot of unseen waste that happens behind the scenes, whether it's like from cartons.
I learned that there's a lot of packaging in food, especially like at home when I had to grab and go like fast breakfast. Wafers and digestives and cereal, and they're all like packaged, and even though for cereal, I try not to finish the box so that it won't be mine. Try to do whatever we can in our own capacity to reduce, and then maybe in the future we can go and do bigger things that can help reduce the waste in a bigger picture. Maybe we'll be the change.
It is me 10 months later. I live a very different lifestyle. I do bring around my stuff with me wherever I go, but this video is already way too long, so maybe in the next video. So like 5 years from now, yeah? Let's talk about the awful state of my room. Most days I can't see my floor. It's a miracle today that I can. Decluttering is something that I've been putting off for the longest time. It's really limiting because your physical surroundings are like a physical representation of your brain. And it's true. I really want my room to be something that I don't look at and stress. Cleaned up my desk quite a bit. There's still stuff on the floor. Yesterday I didn't have time to do it. Or rather I did, but then I fell into like, I'm gonna spend the rest of the day now cleaning my stuff. I decided to ask my mom when we were moving because I didn't really want it to clash with my submissions. But surprise! It does. I just spent the last forever crying because I was like, it just hit me that we were leaving. I never got to complete decluttering my room as best as I could, and I won't get to have a proper goodbye. I've lived in this room all my life. The time we're finally moving out is a time of my life that is already going to be of great stress. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know. We've been moved in here for about 3+ ish months, but it's not the end of the world. I don't feel very settled either because we're neither here nor there. We're not really moved in to our place. We're kind of in a holding area. I miss having my own space. Like when it's 3 a.m. I feel the need to write. Before, my room was kind of my escape from the world. I don't sing as much as I did before. I got these nuts at a shop called aeriqah. You can get them in bulk. We don't need excess packaging. We have enough. It's me waiting for our new place. The worst thing to have ever happened to humanity? No. Very, very unlikely. I'm not like emotional about it. But I was. I'm just chilling. Hey guys, you, my friend, are a loser. Everybody's gonna leave you. You're irritating. Your sadness drives people away. You've been a film student for so long and you don't know anything technical. You can't even keep your videos in focus. Yeah, I don't even have any headroom. It's not that bad. Your songs are just mediocre poetry with less mediocre melody to cover up the mediocre lyrics. Excuse me? You always think you can speak your great ideas into existence, but the moment you plan them out, you're satisfied. You don't follow through. You're flaky. You're a flake. You have strong opinions but have no idea how to debate them. You can't argue. You just get overwhelmed and then cry. You are lactose intolerant and caffeine gives you anxiety, yet here you are with this unhealthy relationship with coffee, cheese, and teh tarik. Your body hates you. Your bladder is tiny. Come on, it's not your fault, but... Hi, Jean.
Hi, AJ.
What's your experience with imposter syndrome?
It feels like I'm not actually good at what I'm known to be good at doing. Like maybe people think that I can sing, but to me I feel like there are just so many people out there who can sing, and that like I'm just
I feel like I'm very average at singing. Like I'm not Beyonce.
yeah.
Like I can't do all the runs.
And then there are people who like can you play the guitar, and then I'll be like, yeah, but like I'm not
Yeah.
great at it.
Oh yeah.
But then if you like do it in front of someone who does not know how to play
Yeah.
at all,
Yeah.
they would be like, wow, you're so good at it. But then you're
And
just
I'm
like,
like,
no, I'm not, because I know there are people who are so much better than that.
When I play a gig, I just feel like there would be someone in the audience
Who would be like,
who's like a pro guitarist.
yes. Even when it comes to acting, I feel like it's alright, but then I would easily forget that actually I had 21 years of acting experience. Sometimes when you're trying to get to a better place in terms of what you're learning, I feel that imposter syndrome sometimes makes it even harder. Because you feel like you're not good enough, and like, but then like you forget that actually this is a part of the process.
It's a lot easier to say, don't be afraid of making mistakes when you've already made the mistake. The point in time when you can do anything to avoid even making that mistake, then you'll just be like, okay, I'm just gonna run away.
Yeah,
and
I'm just gonna not do this and make myself feel bad because I can't take how it feels like when I fail myself. And like I started this Instagram account because I wanted to put all my videography stuff, but I just can't find it in myself to say that
you're a videographer.
Yeah. It's like I feel like there are just so many other
but you
people,
actually are.
But I am.
Yeah.
It's quite common. Like I experience it a lot in my own life. Someone told me about this artist. By art standards in the past, he believed that he couldn't draw. But then like in today's modern context, when you look at his sketchbook, you realize actually he can draw. It's just that like his proportions are different. In the past, they tend to equate being able to draw with like being able to get all the proportions correctly.
Right.
But because his proportions are like different from the usuals, it also made his artwork very distinct.
I had to sit myself down yesterday after freaking out. I had to like list out my own TV to myself. I was like, okay, I've done this. I felt this way before. I felt this way so badly with this particular video that I ended up doing pretty okay with.
Yeah. Remember I was telling you for 1 year I had like a writer's block.
Yeah.
So I
feel like I'm consistently in a writer's block.
Yeah, and the thing is, when I think back about it, I would try to write, and I would come up with maybe like one verse and one chorus if it's a good day, and then I would like give it up after a while because I'd be like, this is not good enough. A month ago, I went to look at all the voice recordings that I recorded, and I realized that it's okay, what?
Yeah, I've had that too.
What? It's not as bad as I thought.
Sometimes I just write one line and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
But then when I come back like months later, I'm like, oh.
You can work with that.
Yeah.
We always put expectations on ourselves.
Yeah.
And then we end up like stunting our own progress.
Okay, I'm not very good at the guitar, at least like theory-wise.
Okay.
So then what I come up with are all like experimenting. I think about times when my other artist friends have said like, I don't like my work, it's not like yours or whatever. Then I'm like, then I'm like, okay, but there's no way I could ever think of the stuff that you are doing. I have friends who say that about my songs also, and I'm like, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Then sometimes it makes you take a second look. Like my singer-songwriter friend who is really good at what she does.
Yeah.
She would like make comments. She'd be like, why you can write like your songs are so freaking nice, or like it's not fair and all that. I'm just like, what are you talking about? Because like I really look up to your songwriting skills.
Right.
I feel like it's a constant like figuring out of like what's
It's
what's
all
going
a
on.
process.
It's a tiring one though.
Yeah.
I think it's important to like more than anything else to constantly expose yourself to art that inspire you, because recently I came back from Taiwan and I managed to see other Taiwanese musicians performing their pieces, and it just made me so inspired that like I had no time to think about whether something that I'm doing is good enough or not.
I changed eyes.
It's like dark. And look at Charlie Lim's
Yeah.
lyrics and I'm just like, how do you come up with words like that?
I look at the songs that you make and I go to myself like, why can't I write
Metaphor.
all these metaphors? A lot of my writing is very literal.
Right.
But then I also think to myself that there's people who listen who are like me, who don't necessarily interpret all these metaphors so quickly also.
Yeah.
So then songs like me would appeal to me.
Yeah.
You know?
In a way, it's like I throw words out and then eventually they create themselves.
Right.
It's so like hocus pocus.
I feel like a huge part of my imposter syndrome is also because like all my friends are creatives.
Yes.
And I'm like, it's a good thing to be surrounded by so much art. Like, it's a blessing. There's also a lot of times when like every time someone asks me to do a gig, there's a part of my brain that's like, someone else could do that job better than you could.
Oh gosh,
Yeah.
I do that as well.
Yeah, no, but I'm also thinking of you in those situations.
Oh Jesus.
So that helps your imposter syndrome.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
It's also because you're constantly surrounded by people who are constantly putting things out.
Yeah.
That it makes you feel like you're not doing enough.
Yeah. Totally.
But I worked with a director who's been teaching in a film school for like many years.
Right.
And the film that I did with him was actually his first feature film.
Oh.
Sometimes we like to put our own time limit to things that actually don't necessarily need a time limit for. I think that it's a good thing and a bad thing. It's good because it pushes you to further yourself, but like it's bad when you stop yourself from progressing because of it.
There's a difference between I'm so bad at this, I should just not do it, and
Yeah.
I'm so bad at this.
All the more I should try.
All the more I should try and get better. I just tell myself, if you give up, that's your fault.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't the fault of somebody who made better art than me.
I know this person he's from China and he went to America at a very young age and he managed to work his way up to eventually become a Broadway actor.
Ooh.
But the thing about him is that he is born tone deaf.
Oh.
So then he managed to train himself until like he could sing. They gave him a solo item on
Oh my
stage.
god, on Broadway?
Yeah.
Wow.
And that's a huge thing.
That's incredible.
I'm sure he's battled with all these feelings of inadequacy before, but the fact that he managed to even like battle his tone deafness.
Yeah. I have like a no BS policy. That means like no whining. I have people in my life and they're like, oh yeah, I want to do this, but I don't.
But this.
But like, I mean, I try really hard, but like, I can't do it. Like, whatever. I'm like, okay, lor.
It's really a matter of what pain you're okay with bearing. With everything that you do, it's definitely going to be inconvenient. For me, I'm fine with dealing with the inconvenience of having to learn scores, of having to train myself to do a certain kind of run. Yeah, and but these are like the inconveniences that I choose that manage to bring me to where I am today. And if let's say like having to sit down and practice is an inconvenience to you, and if you're not able to choose that, then like it's not much of a surprise if you can't end up better than where you started.
A lot of the times we forget that we should really put things into perspective and see that we've really achieved a lot more than we think we have. It's very hard to see it that way when you're always in your own head. You know, we're all doing our best. We're all really just faking it. One of the biggest lessons that I've had to learn this year is that I just have to be open to learning. It's okay to not know. I know how painful it can be when you really just don't understand something, and there's really no shame in asking.